Hey, hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome back to another game review. Today I'm gonna be reviewing A Plague Tale: Innocence, and as usual I'm quickly gonna go through the story of this game to tell you in short what the game is all about. Then I'm gonna share my own opinions and thoughts about this game, so in case you didn't play it, one big spoiler alert across the screen, and yeah, just click away from this video and come back after you play a game if you want to. If you don't want to, that's totally okay, but if you really are interested in my opinions and thoughts about this game right now, then stay with me till the end of this video and let's get started. Alright guys, A Plague Tale: Innocence. It's a game that's been released in 2019, it's been developed by Asobo Studio, and it's a story-oriented third-person stealth action adventure type of game with some survival horror elements here and there. This game has been nominated as the game with the best technician achievement, and it received the award for the game with the best story. So this game has received countless positive critics from people all around the world who played it, and there is for sure reason for that, because story of this game is just really amazing. Story of this game puts us in a perspective of a young girl called Amicia de Rune. She's the daughter of French Lord de Rune. The game is set in the Middle Age, in the time of Red Plague, and the story of this game starts to cook up at the very beginning when Inquisition comes to Amicia's house and slaughters her entire family, including her father. They are basically looking for her younger brother Hugo. And after that happens, at the beginning of the game, the mother of Amicia and Hugo tells them that they have to run and hide because Hugo has some sort of a disease that everyone is scared of, and he was isolated from Amicia almost her entire life, so she barely knows him, and her mother now tells her that she has to take care of him, and they have to run and hide from the Inquisition. And at the beginning of the game they get separated from their mother, and for the rest of the game Amicia and Hugo have to go through many terrible things. They have to witness the horrors of Red Plague. So the danger in this game are those rats. They are so dangerous, they'll eat anything alive in front of them in seconds. Their only weakness is light, so they're scared of the light, and they have to witness all the horrors that find them on their journey, and they really go through a lot of stuff. They also meet some new characters through the game and through the story as the story progresses. Also, at one point of the game, this Grand Inquisitor shows up. He's basically the main villain in this story that wants to capture Hugo and take his blood and put it in his blood. So he wants to take that sickness from him, which is basically not sickness. It's a gift which allows Hugo to control the plague and rats. So basically this Inquisitor wants to take Hugo's blood and his sickness, that is actually a gift, just to weaponize it, and he's just a guy who seeks power. And at one part of the game he manages to do that, and then for the rest of the game Hugo and Amicia together with their friends and their mother have to find a way to defeat Grand Inquisitor. And that's pretty much the entire story of this game. So in my opinion, this game has amazing story. It's really 10 out of 10. The reason why I like this game's story so much is because of its originality. Not a lot of games today, actually I don't know any games that are story oriented and are set in the Middle Age, in the Plague time or whatever. So this game really knows how to be original with its story. It tells the story about the bond and connection between brother and sister, and it shows love of older sister to younger brother, and Amicia is really going to do anything to save her brother from Inquisition and to keep him alive. And it's one really beautiful love story, and I don't know, just the emotions are flooded in this game. So this game is just flooded with emotions and emotional moments. It's filled with desperate scenes, and the presentation of this game is amazing. Cutscenes are amazing, and combined with beautiful and sad soundtracks in the same time. And it's just one really unique and amazing experience. And if you like story-oriented games, if you want to give this game a chance, I totally encourage you to do that. You're not gonna regret it. It's one really original game, one really original story, and I think it definitely does deserve all the awards that it got. It got his own idea and its own way of telling a story, and not a lot of people came to an idea to make a story-oriented game in a middle age. Like, I really like the concept and idea behind this, and the story is pure 10 out of 10, guys. It's just really amazing. And when some of these emotional moments happen, I had goosebumps all over my body just watching and listening to everything that was going on in the game. So it really is one very unique and special game, and I totally recommend you to check it out just because of its story. This game just simply made me care about all the characters that are in game. There is not a single character that is a bit more important that I just didn't care about, and I just like when games do that. I like when games really try hard to tell you all the character story, which this game does. This game explains you the story not just about the main characters, but those side characters that you meet through the game, and that's why what I really respect about this game so much. Best part of this game definitely is its story, but this game also has some pretty well wrapped up gameplay, which is something I want to talk about now. Like I said, this is third person, primarily stealth based video game, and it reminds me a lot of Thief back from 2014. If you played Thief, then you know what I'm talking about. This game is very similar to that game, even though Thief is a first person game and it has way more advanced stealth mechanics than this game. But they're both set in the Middle Age, and there is plague in both games and stuff like that. It's pretty similar, and the combat works pretty similar as well in those two games. So in A Plague Tale Innocence, most of your time will be spent sneaking past by your enemies, throwing the items to distract them, and then just sneak past by them. You can also decide to engage in combat, even though this game doesn't have a very advanced combat. So Amicia is equipped with a sling in this game that she can use as a weapon or as a tool. So most of your time, once you get spotted in this game, you're gonna die, because once guards get your hands on you, they're gonna instantly kill you. There are two type of enemies in this game. There are guards and there are rats. So rats are pretty dangerous as well. Their only weakness is light, so they're scared of light. Otherwise, when there is no light, they're gonna eat everything in their way in matter of seconds. So once the rats grab you, it's game over. You're gonna die as well, and then you have to restart from the latest checkpoint. Same thing is with the guards. There is also multiple type of guards in this game. Some of the guards are armored and have helmet and they are harder to kill. Some of the guards don't have armor or helmets at all. You can simply kill them by firing the rock from the sling in their head, and the single headshot is gonna result in an insta kill. However, those guards with helmets and armor can be killed as well. Later in the game, you will obtain some sort of a acid projectile that you can fire from your sling, and then you dissolve the enemy's helmet. They'll take the helmet off their heads, and then you can just hit them with a rock in the head again, which will again result in an insta kill. And that's pretty much what the combat is all about in this game, just simply dissolving enemies' helmets with that acid projectile, and then after that shooting them with a rock into their faces. Later through the game, Amicia will obtain many different projectiles that she can fire from that sling. At one point of the game, you obtain fireballs that you can throw around torches and light them up to scare the rats away, and make your way from one area to the other just to avoid these rats. Rats are one big pain in the ass, and everybody fears them in the game. Later, you also obtain like some sort of decoy for rats. You throw it, and then rats will, like the swarm of rats will run on that decoy and will stay there for a limited amount of time, which gives you a window of opportunity to move from one area to another. And then this game knows how to be really creative, because you can use these fireballs and these decoys for rats as weapons as well. You can throw these decoys, for example, on armored soldiers. Sometimes you're gonna encounter armored enemies with shields, and you can absolutely do no damage to them. The only way to kill them is to extinguish the torches and make total darkness for rats to eat them, or you can fire the rat decoy on them, and then swarm of rats will jump on them and kill them instantly. So this game really knows how to be creative. It has so many ways to kill your enemies. Sometimes you're gonna see your enemies walking around with the lanterns and torches, lighting the way in front of them, which scares rats away from them. And then you can hide behind the cover and just extinguish their torches with the sand that you later obtain as a projectile in the game as well. Or you can just simply throw a rock in the lantern and break the light, which again causes the darkness and rats to jump on them and eat them. So you can use rats as killing machine. Basically, you can release the rats, or find a way to release the rats on your enemies and just eliminate them that way. There's so many creative ways you can go through one level. Also, you don't have to kill your enemies if you don't want to. You can always sneak past by them. Through almost entire game, like I said, Amicia has to take care of her brother Hugo, and through entire game he is walking next to you. You can press the button to release the hand and tell him to stay behind the cover or something until you go and take out the guards or whatever, but I honestly never use that option. It's pretty useless. You can do all the things with him next to you or without him. It just really doesn't matter, so I don't really get what's the point of that option in this game. It's kind of useless, so that's kind of downside. But there are some points in the game where you can where you have to leave Hugo behind to go and do some things, and then you can invite him to come back and grab your hand. But most of the time it's totally useless. Like 95% of the game can be played with him just walking next to you. There's no need to leave him anywhere behind. And I love the details of the animation. For example, when you leave Hugo behind, for example, when you leave him next to a box that you need to climb, and if you climb the box without him and call him to come back up to you, he won't be able to climb the box on himself. So you have to actually go down and help him climb the box. But if you don't tell him to stay, and if you tell him to follow you and grab your hand, then Amicia will automatically lift Hugo up on the box, and that way help him climb the box faster. So this game, even in gameplay, wants to really show you the emotions and care of sister for her younger brother, and that's what really is amazing about this game. This game is also full of interactive parts where you can just walk around and explore the environment, interact with stuff, and Amicia will always say something about it once you interact with those things. It's really one unique way of telling a story, even through the gameplay, and games like this are not really often made, and that's what really makes this Game's so amazing. There is also photo mod in this game, so in case you want to take some cool photos, you can enter the photo mod and just take pictures of your characters in like cool environment in this plague cities. Then this game also has puzzles. Puzzles are not hard most of the time, but sometimes they can be tricky, and I spend sometimes like 10 to 15 minutes on solving one single puzzle, and sometimes it can be a little frustrating when you don't really know what to do, and then you realize how simple it actually was to do it. Then rats, I mentioned rats already. Rats are a big part of this game. They're the main danger in this game, and you need to avoid them. Their only weakness is light. So as long as you have light around you, you're safe from the rats. So you just need to stick to the light and rats won't touch you. There's many ways to go through the level and avoid these rats and produce light to scare the rats away from you. Like I said, again, you can use these rats to kill your enemies. You can finish the level in so many different ways. It's totally up to you. So yeah, you can just kind of always find your way through the level and use different abilities that you obtain through the game to go through these rat areas or whatever. Later on in the game, Amicia also meets some of the side characters that have their own little stories, but also they have their own little abilities. For example, one character can take down enemies from behind stealthily and break open doors. The other character, however, can lockpick the locked chests that contain important resources. Now, yes, this game has a little looting system and kind of a little survival system where you have to go and loot around the area you're in. You can explore the area, loot it for resources, then you can use these resources for crafting and upgrading your character on the workbench. So all the projectiles that you fire in the game can be, of course, wasted. And you can open the little like wheel menu with your button, and then you just hold the left click to craft these items. But these throwables, they require resources to be crafted, so everything comes with a price. So it's really important to explore the environment around you and collect these resources as much as you can, because you will need them later in the game. But you can also decide to save them for later. You can, like I said, just sneak past by enemies. You don't have to fight them if you don't want to. Also later in the game you'll obtain things like sleep dust, which allows you the second chance if you get caught by the guards, and it allows you to take down guards from behind. So you can sneak up behind the guard and just put the sleep dust on his face, and just that way you can eliminate them. The sleep dust also allows you, if you get caught by the guards, you're gonna have a split second on your screen to click the button to throw the sleep dust into your enemies' faces and just put them to sleep. So the game will give you second chance if you have a sleep dust in your inventory. If you don't have sleep dust in your inventory, then it will result in an insta kill, which is pretty cool. The same thing is with the rats. You're gonna have this like firebomb later in the game, and if rats get you and start biting you and climbing on you, you can throw this firebomb on the ground and save yourself from being eaten from the rats. But also both of these, sleep dust and that firebomb, can be held in your inventory only by one. So you can only have one of these, and once you waste them you have to craft them again, and they're pretty expensive to craft. They require a lot of resources to craft, but again they're pretty useful and they can save your life, so you don't have to play the game again from the checkpoint, which can be sometimes frustrating, and at some parts in this game you will die a lot. Stealth, however, in this game is the main thing, like I said, and this is primarily stealth based game, and stealth is not really that advanced. So darkness, for example, in this game doesn't matter. No matter how dark it is, enemies can still see you in the dark. So cover is the only way you can hide from your enemies, which is kind of stupid to me. I wish this game had a darkness system where you can just hide in the dark like in Thief series. But okay, I guess this game, just like I said, is... But again, this game is story oriented, and they didn't really thought that much about game mechanics. But however, stealth is not bad at all. It's pretty simple. It's pretty interesting. It can be very intense sometimes. This game can have very intense atmosphere, so you'll have to sneak behind the cover and take it slowly sometimes. Sometimes you'll have to think what to do, where to go, how to do it. It's totally all up to you. There is many different pathways to take in this game, many different ways to complete the level. Also, what I really loved about this game are those like interactive chases. Let's call them like that. So at one point of the game, actually a few times in the game, you will get chased by the guards or rats or whatever, and you just have to run. And while you run, you have to quickly look around you, where to go, what to do. Sometimes you'll have to interact with stuff quickly, otherwise you're gonna die, and then again you have to restart the game from nearest checkpoint. And those interactive chases are just really intense, with intense soundtrack in the background. Also, this game has amazing soundtracks. Also, what I love about this game is that it really wants you to see the brutality and horrors of Plague and the world Amicia and Hugo are going through. So there is a scene in the game where you have to kill a pig to get through the level. And at first you have to drag the pig food, into a barn filled with rats, and then you bait the pig inside. And then little Hugo says some things like feed time piggy, and he doesn't know what is going to happen. And then Amicia destroys, you have to destroy lights, and then rats eat pig, and that way you open yourself a pathway to complete the level. And then Hugo's gonna be really mad at Amicia. So even in the gameplay, you can feel these character emotions, and you have to witness the horrors they have to go through to survive all that. There is also a scene where you walk towards the guard that is being trapped by the rats in a room, and you grab that torch, and as you walk towards him, the rats just walk towards him as well, and he begs for mercy, but there's just no way to avoid that part of the game. So even if you don't want to kill that guy, you still have to do it, and you just have to witness those horrors. And Amicia says like she's very sorry, talks to that guy before rats eat him, and it really is sad. The game really knows how to express the sadness and cruelty of this world through the gameplay as well, which is really unique, and it's not really common in the games, and that's why I think this game is so good. And I really enjoyed this game's gameplay, even though it doesn't have any advanced combat. But once you get used to this combat with sling and just shooting your enemies in the faces, it's fun, you know. It's not that boring actually. It's pretty fun to just take out your enemies with your sling from the distance. Also, you can upgrade your gear at the workbenches. Through the game, you're gonna meet these little workbenches where you can stop and upgrade your gear. You can upgrade your sling. You can upgrade, for example, your pockets to carry more ammunition and resources. You can upgrade Amicia's equipment, so she's more stealthy when she runs near guards and stuff like that. So this game does really know how to be creative, and it does know how to entertain you in this dark and sad world. And it really has interesting gameplay. It's one really interesting stealth game. Like I said, it really reminds me of Thief back from 2014, because in that game your only weapon is bow and arrow, and you have arrows that are lethal, and then you have arrows that can light the torches to create light. Then you can again have those arrows that can extinguish them and just make darkness. I think they're cold water arrows, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember. And yeah, it's really similar to the Thief game. It kind of feels like younger. This game really feels like a younger brother to Thief by its gameplay, but an older brother to Thief by its story, because I think this game had way better story than Thief did. I also want to take a moment and appreciate how cinematic gameplay of this game is. HUD is so minimized. There is almost no HUD in the game. The only time you have a HUD on the screen is when you interact with stuff, when you craft items, when you pull out your sling to shoot enemies and stuff like that. So most of the time there is no HUD on the screen, and the game really wants you to enjoy its beauty. Just I like those type of games. So yeah, altogether one really interesting game with one really unique and interesting gameplay. So if you are a fan of stealth games, and I am for sure a big fan of stealth games, I absolutely love stealth and stealth games, I totally recommend you to check this game out. I promise you're not gonna regret it. It's an amazing game. Alright guys, as usual, always keep for the end visual presentation of this game, its graphical design, performances, how game looks like and all that kind of stuff. So this game was developed in engine from the developers. It's their own engine from Asobo Studio. So they didn't buy some other engine, popular engine that today's game use. This game was developed in their own engine, and I gotta say that they did a really good job. This game looks absolutely fucking beautiful, guys, and it does require a pretty buffy PC to run on all ultra settings in 60 FPS or even more. I honestly ran this game on all ultra settings in 30 to 50, sometimes even less than 30 FPS. Sometimes I had terrible frame drops below 30 FPS, which was quite chaotic and critical, but luckily there was only one or two moments like that in the game, so it's not really a big deal. Anyways, my PC specs are next. I got AMD RX 560 4GB DDR5 graphics card. My CPU is AMD FX 8320 3.50 GHz octa-core Black Edition. And my RAM memory is 16 GB Kingston Fury Black Edition DDR4. So yeah, these are my PC specs, and I'm really happy with how my PC handled this game. But if you really want to enjoy this game on all ultra settings, 4K or something like that, yeah, you will need really strong PC for this game. Altogether, game is really beautiful, the environment is really beautiful. I love how cities look dirty, and the rat plague is everywhere. There is so many dead bodies, and I love that part of horror atmosphere, and the design of this game is really cool. This is a linear game, it's not an open world game or whatever, and this linear world is pretty unique and it looks really amazing. The level of detail is amazing, and I really do enjoy this game and its design, its world. It really makes you sad when you look a bit deeper into this game and all these things that you're surrounded with in the game. It really shows you the reality of Black Death and Black Plague, whatever it's called, and how it was, because this really did happen in history, this rat plague. I mean, it wasn't like this, that there was a boy with superpowers that was able to control rats and all that kind of stuff, and the rats would come in this large swarms and all that fantasy stuff that is in this game. But yeah, it was real. The plague was being spread through the rats and all that kind of stuff. So I love that we have another historical game here that is inspired by some historical event, even though it's pretty ugly and its ugly side of human history. but altogether one beautiful game, absolutely one of the best games that came out in 2019. So yeah, I totally recommend you to check out A Plague Tale: Innocence if you love stealth games, if you're a fan of stealth games, and in the same time if you want a game with a really good story, then yeah, A Plague Tale: Innocence is definitely a game for you. Plus it's set in a middle age, and if you're a fan of history and middle age and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, totally would recommend you to play Plague Tale: Innocence. It's a great game. It's totally worth playing, and it's totally worth every penny. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then go ahead and leave a like, share, comment, or subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's totally okay. Also, you can join my Chris Facebook group. Link is down below in the description. I post all kind of stuff over there together with my as.fm, where you can leave any questions if you have any questions. And yeah, guys, I love you. I appreciate all of your support. Thanks for being there for me, and thanks for everything you've done for me and my channel so far. I really love you guys, and I'll definitely see you in the next videos. And Chris out.